We have the management of Container Corporation with us. It was actually a good set of numbers this time. Our revenue growth was about 10%, led by a 30% growth in the domestic business. And although the export-import, the EXIM vertical growth was a bit muted this time, V. Kalyana Rama, who is the chairman and managing director of the company, joins in. Mr. Kalyana Rama, good morning. Happy New Year to you. For 9 months, the growth has been pretty solid. I mean, almost a 17% growth. And you had raised your full-year volume guidance to 15% from 12%. At that time, you told us that you expect 15%, but there's an upside risk to it as well. Would you raise it further, given what you've seen in this quarter's numbers? And how is the demand situation now?
Good morning. Demand is good, but EXIM, of course, that still not that much demand picked up. Yes, we are able to see, as you mentioned, that the growth is not there in the EXIM, but domestic there is a good demand. We are picking up very good volumes in domestic, and we are sure that domestic volumes will further go up. In fact, keeping this in mind, we are going for our procurement, rakes and containers. Containers, we already processed, we released orders for 6,000 containers, indigenous manufacturing. And another 2,000 will be in pipeline very soon, and 10,000 containers we are going for a global tender very soon. So all these things, this because of the demand which is picking up in domestic sector. And for EXIM, basically the containers are with the liners, so we are procuring our rakes. This year we already added around 18 rakes till now, and further we will be adding some other 20-25 rakes in this year. And we will be continuously adding further rakes next year also. So as of now, we'll keep our guidance at this 15%, and let's see how the things work out in this quarter.
Okay. Margins saw a bit of a dip in the third quarter, Mr. Rama. Could you tell us how are things set up cost-wise for you from here out, Q4 and beyond?
No, it's good. Margins, where you are seeing, because in fact our PAT has increased, so the analysis I am not able to understand. See, our PAT, there is an increase in our PAT in the Q3 compared to the last quarter also. So overall the margins we maintained. Overall the operating margin also improved to almost 31.77%. Compared to the earlier margin. So there is increase in margins. I don't think there is a dip in margins.
Absolutely. There is an increase, in fact, on a year-on-year basis across all verticals, right? Overall as well, margins have gone up. EXIM margins, despite it being a muted performance, EXIM margins have gone up to 23%. And domestic margins, have been held around that 5.5% level. But can you tell us, you said that 15% is the growth that you would hold on to for FY22. But we are virtually done with the year now. So for FY23, what kind of growth are you penciling in? And what do you think would be the big triggers for the company in the upcoming fiscal?
Yeah, as I always maintain my stand, I'll be giving the growth guidance for the next year once we complete this financial year. But I can definitely share with you what are the big triggers we are looking at in the next financial year. The triggers in the EXIM business, the DFC already started functioning full-fledged up to Palanpur. That is, it connected very well with Mundra and Pipavav ports. And that made us give a sort of a transit assurance services to the customers along with working with Indian Railways. So this has given a good volumes. The volumes are continuously increasing. From road sector, as we expected, traffic is getting onto railways. That is good for us and as well as for the DFC for railways. So it's a good increase in our business. So with this, and what we did is we got one hub at Kathuwas. We started operating our second hub at Swarupganj. So that hub, these two hubs, again there is a commercial rating involved in Indian Railways for the hub operation. That as well has come. That circular also was issued by the railways. The policy has come. So we are now operating two hubs and increasing our double stack operations. So what we will be doing now onwards we will be bringing our domestic containers, domestic business also into double stack operation between these two hubs. And we got 100 kmph wagons with 80-ton payload. We are the only one having today in the market. They are called BLCS wagons. Already we got 22 rakes, so they carry higher payloads. So the possibility of doing double stacks increase, that will increase our margins. So these are all the plans for the next year, the big triggers here.
Mr. Rama, just
there is one other trigger in domestic. Let me complete.
Yeah.
Let me complete.
Go on,
Let
sir.
me complete. There is another big trigger in domestic. As I mentioned earlier, we are working on bringing bulk movement of commodities in containers. Now that we were doing trials for last 1 year, 1.5 years, we are now successfully completed and we are going for commercial exploitation of this. The movement of cement in bulk in containers, we are going to start with container as a warehouse concept. This will be a big thing for the next year in domestic business, and we are expecting very good volumes in that. The thing is that we will be now making our infrastructure, particularly the rolling stock and the containers, ready for this big growth. The expected growth is anywhere between 5 to 10 million tons in domestic.
Right. Just briefly, Mr. Rama, what will rail volumes post DFC be? I mean, wouldn't that depend on customer acquisition? Is there any room for disappointment there? And second, double stacking benefits post DFC would that be kind of retained, or you think with freer competition? I mean, how does one model that?
No, the margins, whatever we are getting out of double stack, will definitely be retained. There is competition. Earlier also there were people, the competitors were running double stacks. We were also running, but we increased our double stack operations, as I said, because of the two hubs. And we will be adding domestic business into double stacking. That increases the chance, the opportunity and the possibility of doing more double stacking. And as the customer acquisition, customers are already with us. The customers were dividing their business between road and rail depending on the sensitivity, time sensitivity for their particular cargo. Now that will add, that time sensitivity now, that is not a major issue with the DFC running. So this will definitely, the customers' business which are with us will be increasing their business with us, and new customers will add on as seeing the time sensitivity happening on railways. So the customer acquisition is a natural process with the DFC, and I don't think in DFC operation there is no room for disappointment.
All right, Mr. Rama, thanks very much. We're short on time, so we'll have to leave it there. I had a bunch of other questions, but that's for another time. Thank you. Good luck for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Well,